Breaking this morning, flights are resuming for American Airlines after the FAA lifted the ground stop the airline issued due to technical issues, it said. This happened during the busiest travel time of the year as people are rushing home for the holidays. We spoke with our affiliate WFOR in Fort Lauderdale, Florida last hour. Here is what she says they were experiencing during that brief ground stop.
The flight was supposed to leave at 7 a.m. We got there, we're waiting to board the flight, and then the announcement came over the loudspeaker saying that there's going to be a delay. They were having serious technical issues, saying that they weren't able to scan tickets, not able to board luggage onto the flight. And then we were told that we're going to get updates every 15 minutes. So people were sitting there patiently. A lot of people wearing Santa hats. There were so many children there as well. A lot of parents really concerned about getting home for the holidays.
All right, we have our Lucy Kavanaugh looking off into the wilderness because she looks very calm. Things don't seem too terrible there at Chicago O'Hare Airport, which is busy on any day of the week. What are you seeing there, Lucy?
Well, Sarah, I was looking off at the actual boards here, the departure boards. Most flights are delayed, but none look to be canceled. And, of course, the usual hustle and bustle of Chicago O'Hare Airport, of course, a hub for American Airlines. You can see things returning back to normal. But it was definitely a scary start for this on this Christmas Eve for some holiday travelers. After that brief outage grounded all of the flights, the airline said a vendor technology issue briefly affected flights. They also said that they began boarding again around 8 a.m. Eastern. This is according to an American Airlines spokesperson. Now, a lot of folks learning about this outage on social media when they saw reports that some flights were returning back to their gates and delays were about 90 minutes. But a lot of folks, like I said, learning about this online. Take a listen, including the two passengers that we spoke to.
We saw it first on our phones, and then we saw on Instagram, like a news report, that said all planes grounded for American in the U.S. So we were like, what's going on? And she recently watched a movie that a cyber attack happened. So she thought it was crazy. She's like, Christmas Eve crisis.
So they're getting to Grandma in Vegas. A lot of folks are getting to their destinations on, again, one of the busiest travel days of the year. I think one aviation analytics firm estimated that American was going to have 3,300 domestic flights today. So thankfully this ground stop, this travel delay has been averted.
AAA reports 119 million people will be traveling 50 miles or more from home, which is more than the previous high set in 2019. Joining us right now is travel expert and managing editor of The Points Guy, Clint Henderson. It's great to see you. Thanks for jumping on. A ground stop for a major airline like American, even short-lived. How far are you seeing, or could the ripple effects go in terms of the disruption even after they've renewed service, Clint?
Yeah, well, just to give you one example, I've been tracking a flight leaving JFK going to San Francisco. That flight's now delayed 3 hours. So it does have a ripple effect. The good news is it seems to have been resolved fairly quickly. So hopefully there won't be any kind of cascading issues. American Airlines said they are sorry for the inconvenience to passengers. But the good news is, like most fallout we've seen from these incidents lately, it's being resolved fairly quickly, and it hasn't had the domino effect that we saw back in 2022, for example.
Yeah, I think everyone's still, I feel like they're hurt from that example, but things have been resolved. A little traumatized from that one for sure. That was so wild. More broadly, Clint, looking at the numbers, the busiest day that ever in airports was, I believe it was the Sunday after Thanksgiving. TSA screened more than 3 million people then. TSA also saying 10 of the busiest travel days on record have happened in just the past 6 months. What are you expecting for Christmas and New Year's, and what should travelers be preparing for?
So more of the same. And, this is why I recommend, especially during the holidays, that you get to the airport a little earlier than normal. I'm the 3 hours early kind of guy. But, airports now have so many amenities, lounges, restaurants, shopping, that I don't mind spending a little time at the airport. And of course, I have all those clear and TSA pre-check, but there's even some free screening things you can do, like getting place in line at Orlando Airport and things like that. So definitely check into that stuff. But overall, the airlines are handling things better. We've only really seen one major meltdown this year. That was CrowdStrike, and that was an IT failure. So fingers crossed that we're on the upswing. I think the airports have the staff they need now. So that's a relief.
I have personally gone a 180 on this. I used to be screaming at the last minute, jumping on the plane at the last second, loving to see if I could kind of beat the buzzer. And I'm now the 3 hours early person. I'd rather not have the stress, and I'd rather sit and drink several more cups of coffee before taking off. So I have taken your advice for sure. Let's look back at this past year in travel. As I mentioned, it's just been a huge year for travel. What were the biggest travel trends that you saw in 2024?
So people are traveling farther to more exotic destinations, and they're going for longer. We've done some polling. We've been tracking the trends very carefully, obviously. Average length of vacation instead of 4.5 days is now 5.5 days. So I think what you're seeing happen is a lot of people are extending trips because of work from home policies. So whereas they maybe could only get away for the weekend before, they're now extending those trips by a day on either side. So that's a big trend that I expect we'll see continue. And also just the popularity of travel. I think social media has really impacted that. I think people see their friends' selfies in front of the Eiffel Tower or in Tokyo, and they want to copy that trip. So I think you're seeing a lot of excitement around travel. And really this dates back to the pandemic when people were stuck at home. I think a lot of people decided that what they wanted to do was to travel more.
And so what are your predictions for 2025? Because I find it interesting because it was such a huge year for travel, but also this was the year of inflation. And this was one of the years of inflation and people struggling to pay for their groceries. And so you kind of have this combination of factors, and I'm wondering what you think it all means for the year to come.
Yeah, I think that's one area that folks they don't care how much it costs. We haven't seen a lot of price resistance from consumers. I will say over the last 5 years, airfares have actually come down slightly overall. And I regularly see deal alerts. So there is deals to be had out there and people are taking advantage of those, but people are just not as price sensitive as they used to be when it comes to travel. I think that's the one area people are willing to splurge on right now. The other interesting thing that's happening is the strong US dollar is certainly helping for international travel in places like Tokyo, in places like Europe. The US dollar just goes further. It can be cheaper to go to Europe than it can be to go to Las Vegas, for example. So that's one of the things that I'm watching. The return of business travel is a big part of this. And then no let up in demand for leisure travel. American Airlines just added a direct flight to Bozeman, Montana for leisure travelers. So airlines are making more decisions based around the consumer who loves to travel.
Ooh, I love that. I like learning more about more direct flights. Fan of more direct flights.
Wait a minute. Before you go,
Please.
Clint, what are your thoughts on gate lice?
Oh,
Do you know the term? Because one of us skips lines.
I am an adorable louse when it comes to. I'm okay with it. Clint, tell me I'm fine.
She's been going into the wrong group. But now we know why.
It is called harmless rebellion. It hurts no one, and it just scratches that itch of like, can I get away with it? And now apparently I'm called lice.
Clint's like, yes, I'm not.
No, I think it's fine, but the airlines are instituting technology to catch you. American Airlines is trying out this thing where they beep if you're in the wrong boarding group and you scan your boarding pass. It'll alert the gate agents, and it's embarrassing. So they're sending you to the back of the line. So just be aware they may catch you.
I have just realized I am going to be flying American soon, and it's not like this is a private chat room that we're having this conversation on right now. So Clint, come help me, and whatever airport jail is.
I'm going with my camera to film the beat that happens, and then scream,
and
shame, shame, shame.
Embarrassed? My daughters are going to be like, I knew you were the most embarrassing mom ever.